Welcome to episode 14, Learning Programming with Just. First of all, I really messed up not programming until this late. I'm like falling asleep already. So we're gonna get done as much as we can. And call it a day. So I think I've decided. Last episode we were kind of talking about trying to fix our problems with a continuous counter. Where is it? Did I delete it already? Left pressed time. That's what we were doing. I don't think we're going to do this route. Left pressed time. Yeah. I don't think we're going to do this anymore because I was kind of thinking through and it still doesn't really, it still doesn't solve our problem with the stop and turn and go logic. Like we still run into the same problem with that. So the good news is though, I'm pretty sure the answer that can help us is to create a boolean called justTurned and justStopped. So if we're just stopped, then we're gonna wait about a fifth of a frame, maybe faster, in order for left input to register a turn. And then likewise, if we're just turned, we're going to wait about a fifth of a second to activate our left input if just turned is true. So this kind of, once we determine when to set these to true, then we need to say in our update loop, say, hey, if it's true, decrement it until it's 0 in about a fifth of a frame time. And then then we can use that boolean as a, because if we're already facing left and we press left, we want to go left on that frame 1. But if we're facing left and we have just stopped and turned, we don't want to go on frame 1 because we want to be able to, if we're moving right, if we hold left for a certain amount of time, we want to be able to not only stop him moving right, but to turn him and not be able to walk, because that's how it is in the game. But if we hold it a little bit longer than that, it'll pass that threshold and it will stop him and turn him and walk him a little bit, to the other direction. So these booleans, if we set these correctly and then decrement them correctly, we can use them as a secondary check on our left inputs when we're grounded and facing left, or had just stopped, so that we can trigger a certain input only when we want it. And we want it, if we're just stopped, then left input should turn us and not necessarily make us go. And if we're, wait, let me think about this. So I'm trying to think if we need, I think we just need the 2, because if we're going right and we press left on that first input, we're gonna stop. But since you can't press the input for only one frame, you'll be stopped, and then a left input shouldn't turn you around unless it passes that 1/5 of a frame or so. So yeah, we need a just stopped. And then if we just turned, we also need to not quite increment our dx left just yet if we just turned, because that means we're coming from facing the other direction. And we need to wait that 1/5 of a frame or so. I think it's a little bit shorter than a 1/5 of a frame, because I can't get it consistent on the original. But if I tap it really fast, I can sometimes get it. So we might have to tweak that just a bit. But I'm feeling like that will actually start to solve this problem, and I won't get stuck in that loop of the same problem every single time, because we were never really addressing the problem, which was continuous input needs to do different things based on whether or not we just turned. It's really hard to diagnose that, but after spending all the time failing at this, I think I know why and what to do to fix it. So I guess the first thing to do is to toggle these just stopped and just turned to true, wherever that logic is. So right here, like if we're right here, oh look, I already had it. Self.justTurned gets true. We need the where's the stop? Right here, stops when facing left. So, or stops when facing right. So when we're facing right and left is pressed, then we'll have just stopped. Yes. Self-stopped gets true. Now we need to change that back to false after a certain amount of time is passed. So for now, we'll just put the variables, like we have to say something, we have to do a little loop saying, we'll have to do a little loop saying, if just turned, then wait until it's past the value, past whatever we did, 1/5 of a frame or whatever. Then if that's the case, then we reset our just turned to false. That'll reset it after a 1/5 of a frame. And then we need to do the exact same with just stopped. I'm feeling good about this. Famous last words. But I see no reason why this won't fix the problem. Once we get our left logic working again with all the end statements and everything, and make sure the order of operations is okay. But this actually addresses the problem that we've been having. So this condition needs to be I guess we need two different timers. And it would be called like just stopped timer gets just stopped timer plus delta time or minus delta time. And then we need to initialize just stop timer to be a 1/5 of a frame. So every frame of delta time is 0.06. How do I forget this every time? I have to do this every single time. 0.01 0.016 repeating. 0.016. So yeah, after 12 frames or so, I think it's going to be a little less than that, but we can tweak with it once we have it working. So if self just stopped, so we need to give ourselves a just stop timer. I guess maybe we initialize it up here, but we need to reset it after. We would need to reset it once we turn it back to true. So just turned timer gets the same. So yeah, I guess it's like defining them or initializing them up there to 0.2 isn't necessary since we have to reset them anyway, and we're going to be resetting them as soon as we set them to true. We would just be overriding it anyway, and then when we want to debug or troubleshoot, we'd have to change those two values, so that's why I just changed it back to 0. Because here we have to say you're going to get 0.2, and then that would have overwritten 0. But now when we need to change how fast it goes, we just need to change it right there real quick. So just turn timer gets 0.2, and then just turn timer gets itself minus dt. So as soon as we stop, just stopped will be true, and then for 1/5 of a second it'll remain true until it gets set to false. And we need to say if just stop timer is greater than 0, then do that body of code. So I guess we need to shoot, because right now this will, oh no, yeah, greater than 0. Oh, but right now it's not, it's initialized to 0. So okay, I think the way to do it is just to give us a constant called like, what would we call this? Lag time, input lag speed. I don't know, because it's the amount of frames that we're wanting our left input to not do anything if we're just stopped or just turned. So like I'm just going to call it input lag, because I know what that means at this moment. I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but if it's greater than 0, oh, see? Shoot, what am I doing wrong already? We need to initialize these to input lag. And then we need to, it'll be greater than 0, then we're going to decrement and then set it false. Then if it's false, if it's false, we need to assign input lag to our timer. So it's kind of waiting to decrement until we're just stopped. And then it'll decrement until it's 0. Then when it's 0, it'll become false. And then it'll get reset to 0.2 and just wait there until just stopped is true again. And then this one is similar, where we need to say if justTurned timer is greater than 0, then decrement by delta time, and then turn false, because after 1/5 of a second you have not just turned, so now your left input can make you go. Or right input, because we're just working on left right now, but it'll be for both. Then I guess that means we need to make sure we turn this boolean to be true upon right input as well, which we will, just since we haven't messed with refactoring the right input just yet. We'll have to remember to do that. We'll just have to add the corresponding justTurned in our right input instead of just our left. But we'll get there. We'll get there once we have left somewhat working. So if self-turned is true, or if justTurned is true, if our justTurned timer is greater than 0, which it's initialized to be, then we will decrement our justTurned timer. This isn't right. If it's, we need an else here for when it's equal to 0 or smaller than 0. That's when we turn it to false. And then will be false, and then this line of code won't execute. It'll just reset its timer to the input lag. Okay. And then same with this. If it's greater than 0, decrement. Otherwise, it's going to be either equal to 0 or smaller than 0, in which case we're not justTurned anymore. And then we need to set our justTurned timer equal to the input lag constant. Okay. So this is input lag booleans, and decrement, I guess. I don't know. It's like that's a little. It's pretty easy to see what that code is doing at a glance, because it's like, oh, we're not justTurned anymore, or we're not just stopped anymore. So I don't think the code or the comment needs to be too verbose or whatever. Okay, so we have those booleans that turn to true upon left input. When justTurned will be true when we're grounded, we're facing right, our dx is 0, so we're stopped and facing right. No, that's not right. because we can only just have, that's turning. We need, oh, I'm so stupid. Yeah, just turned. Okay, I don't know why I messed that up, but yeah. If left is pressed and our velocity is going right in the speed tier 1 range, because if we're going faster than speed tier 1, skidding would get self to true, and then dx would get slowed down over time. But we're in speed tier 1, which means our dx gets assigned to 0 instantly. That's what was causing the problems, because then on the next frame, this left was pressed was still registering, because you can't push it for just one frame, and then at that point it would turn you facing left that very next frame. I'm feeling good about this. I'm feeling good about this. Okay. So the trickiest thing now is, like, do you see how there's all these ifs, then there's some else ifs and other ifs, and the ends don't match yet, but like the tricky part is trying to see if any of our scenarios up here will overwrite any other desired logic, just like how our turn timer, I'm calling it turn timer, but it's now the input lag input, was messing stuff up on those next frames. But the reason that was happening was because under a certain circumstance we were changing a condition that is directly branched to another same input. Because we had just pressed left, then we do this thing which changes the condition of this thing that we're also just pressing left to change, which is why it was so complicated, and that's why we needed these booleans. Okay, so all that to say, like, I don't know what the move is. I don't know if, do I just fix all the end statements and make sure it'll be able to be, the code will be able to run. I was going to say compiled, but it's a scripting language, so it's not compiled. But the compiler will throw you in, not the compiler, but the engine will throw an error message if we don't have the right syntax. So let's see. If we're stopped, then and left is pressed, then turn. But see, this is where we need to say if we have just turned, if just turned is true and left is pressed, actually, hold on. Because if we're just turned or just stopped, do we want any input to be able to be registered? Because we now have to say, now we have to incorporate that Boolean logic now, where we're saying if we were just turned, then pressing left doesn't do anything. So we would only do if left was pressed and not just turned. Wait. And not just stopped. Wait. Wait. If left is pressed and we're stopped, we only want to go, oh my gosh, because this doesn't even control our dx, this just controls which way we're facing. at which point we will be facing left. Oh gosh. Right here. We'll be facing left, and then we get, wait, oh my god. This is like, the smaller than 0 means we have to already be moving left and not skidding. But if, okay, because on the first frame of left input, we don't want to increment 0 up to max speed. We want to start at that 0.12, was it? 0.12 speed was the minimum dx we thought was appropriate. So if here, move to the right, stop, space, move to, I mean, that code, or this comment is kind of ridiculous. It's just skidding, but I guess it's the 0.4. The 0.4 is why I said faster than speed tier 1, because that's where the 0.4 comes from. But the comment itself doesn't make much sense, but whatever. So how do we do this? When do we assign our negative 0.12 when left is pressed? Well, we would have to be grounded. We'd have to be not facing right. So it'd have to be down here. And we'd have to be not just turned. If we're just turned, we don't want to do anything. So if we're self dot just turned, if we're not just turned, then our dx and left was pressed. Then our dx gets the negative 0.12, because remember, this is because if we don't have this condition, then our dx will get our current dx minus the speed ramp. And if we press the frame, if we press the input as little as possible, sometimes we got a negative 0.04 dx, which made the animation cycle way too slow. Like it was going one frame every like 2 seconds or so. So then I got a short amount, you know, like the smallest dx I thought matched the slow walking of the original, and that seemed to be at about 0.12. So if we're facing left and we're not just turned anymore, then pressing left gives us our dx of negative 0.12. And then here's where that implementation pays off, because we're saying else, meaning we no, this is wrong. Hold on. If we're not just turned, then we want to do nothing. But if we're Yeah, we want to do nothing. So yeah, I think we do need to put we need to assign this dx upon the first left press after justTurned is false. So right now, pressing left, this is all when we're facing right. So yeah, this would be the spot to do it because we're facing left. If justTurned, then do nothing. And then I guess we need to say, I think we can get rid of this because this was because we didn't want left. Oh shoot, no, we need that still. Because if we can be facing left and not have been justTurned, and still need to go you know what, I'm making this way more complicated than it needs to be because I can say instead of self dx getting minus speed ramp, the bigger value, hold on a second. So yeah, math.max will return the higher of the two values, and we have two arguments in there. One is negative max speed, which is a negative number around 12 or something. I don't remember what it was. Oh, 2.3. So it's minus 2. And then our speed ramp is 0.03. Jeez. So we're saying I guess I'm confused why I had this self dx smaller than 0. Well, because because left, it needs to be I have it set so that it needs to be moving left in order to increase its dx. But I think that's not necessary. But we do need to say that this minimum value or this maximum value is now it is no longer self dx minus speed ramp. It should be on the very first frame get set to minus 12. Oops. So right there we're doing it because left was pressed and we're not skidding because we don't want to increase or change our dx if we are skidding. That's what was getting us that perpetual skid bug. So we need to say, hey, if left is down and we have not justTurned and we're facing left, then give your dx the negative 0.12 to the left, and then return the higher of two values, one of which is your current dx subtracted by your speed ramp. The other is a negative max speed. So yeah, so this will be the higher of the two numbers until that number gets to be past the max speed, and then it'll just return max speed. And then every frame subsequent while it's held, it'll be, so like let's say we're at our max speed, that means our dx will be negative max speed. Then left is held, then our dx will get the higher of two values, one of which is our current dx, which is our negative max speed, subtracted by our speed ramp. That makes it a higher negative number than our negative max speed. Therefore, max speed will be returned. So that's that clamping logic to make sure we don't go faster than our max speed to the left. But the minimum speed we can go to the left is the 0.12, because as soon as you press left and you're facing left and you're not have just turned, you'll go to the left at negative 0.12. Okay. So the thing is here, if we're just turned and left is pressed, we don't want to do anything because we were just turned, and we don't want to go. So like if we're just turned, this was press left could get triggered at the point of logic where we do turn. So if we did anything here, then it's hard to explain, sorry, but we want to do nothing here. So I don't know how to do. I don't know how to do nothing other than to just return. Return means like do nothing, right? Like end of function. And then if we tap left, it'll return nothing as long as it's held and we're still just turned. And then as soon as we're not just turned, it'll be like, okay, left is down and we're not skidding, give us that negative. And then increment it for as long as it is down, because it's the continuous input, not the one-time input. But the one-time input is misleading because you can't just press it for one frame. I'm feeling good about this. So we're grounded, we're facing right, and we're stopped. Left gets pressed. See, we still need to, say, actually, no, yeah, we do it up here. So anytime just stopped or just turned gets set to true, meaning right here or right here, we start that decrement. And it gets smaller by delta time until it's 0. And it's set to a value called input lag. Every time it's reset to false. Yeah. Wait. Actually, we need to, if we're, so yeah, just stop timer greater than 0 gets decremented, so it starts at 0.2. It'll go for 12 frames until it hits 0 or smaller than 0, at which point this condition will no longer be true, and it'll execute this. So we need this right here, and we don't need this else, because as soon as we're false, we're resetting our input lag so we can use it again, and we don't need that else. Okay, so we trigger the just turned upon turning. It gets decremented to 0, at which point it becomes false and gets reset So we can say if left is pressed, shoot. So now we need to use these booleans appropriately, which is like we need to do gosh, this is so hard to think about. We need to, if left is pressed and we're stopped and facing right and grounded, then left needs to face us to the right and set us to justTurned, but we need the stopped. So it's like we can only have justStopped if we were moving, which is correct, and we can only have actually, well, I was thinking, I mean, no, this is right, but I'm thinking if we skid to a stop. No, yeah, we want the same logic. Okay. So we're saying if we just stop, or if we, yeah, so you know what? We need to say that our justStopped also gets true upon our skidding decrement, which oh my gosh, where is it? Right here. So right here. If our dx is 0 after the skid, we also need to say, hey, we're justStopped, because the other justStopped was only checking at the speed tier 1 speed. Well, if it's at 0, is it, yeah, this isn't checking if dx is 0, it's greater than 0, meaning we were moving. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy with that. So yeah, we changed, or we added that boolean to be also true after a skid stop, which wouldn't have been true if we didn't add that, because it only gets set to true if we're moving and left is pressed. But another way to stop is we're moving faster than that speed 1. We press left, and then upon slowing to a stop, it gets stopped. JustStopped gets true. Okay. So we need to add our logic here. Like what are the two things we need to do upon stopping and pressing left? The first thing is we need to turn if we're not have justStopped, which is the logic here. But then the other thing to do, if we are stopped, if we are justStopped, do nothing, right? Because we don't want that. I don't know enough about programming to know if I can just return 0 or return nothing, or if I have to put it in a block like this. I guess because part of me thinks I can just do the return, and I don't need to have this line in there. So maybe we see if the engine yells at us. So what this is saying if justStopped don't update anything. Because we want everything to be still. We don't want to turn. We only want to turn when we're not stopped anymore. When we're not just stopped anymore. Which is going to be that 1/5 of a frame window, maybe a little bit faster. So now we need the just turned. So if we're just turned, the two things we want to do is, one, do nothing if we have just, if left is, so yeah, where is our, oh, why is it so hard? Oh no. Sorry, my brain like had a handle on it, and then I just like lost everything. We need to use our boolean just turned. Now, what does just turned give us? If we're just turned, where do we turn? Oh, right here. If we're just turned, we get facing right is false. So, oh, right here, we already used it. If we're just turned, then do nothing, right? But otherwise, meaning we're not just turned and left is down, give us that -12 dx to left and increment it. Oh, see, look, this screws us. Because we're resetting our dx to -12 every time left is pressed, and we're not skidding and not have just turned. So this isn't quite right. You guys see the problem here? Left is pressed, we get -12, and then we update our speed with dx. Then on the next frame, if left was held, this will become, this will make it so it's smaller than -0.12, a bigger negative number than 0.12, or however you want to put it. More negative, more in the negative. Then it'll reset it back to 12, and then it'll increment again. So it'll be a consistent slow speed to the left, but we want it to grow and grow and grow. So how do we do that where the first time you press left, you get -12. This is hard. I mean, what am I missing here? Because taking that line out will give us the continuous ramp up, but we don't want it to be, oh, you know what? Yeah, we need to add the 0.12 into here somewhere. Because we don't want the minimum number to be current dx, which will be 0 if we're stopped, minus a speed ramp. We want the minimum to be 0.12. But we also want that dx to get scaled up by its current dx and the speed ramp. So maybe since the lowest, because yeah, if we add any number in here, it's going to add that to our dx every frame. So that's gonna screw up the speed ramp timing. Maybe this is wonky. So the idea is right now we're returning the bigger of two values, one of which is its updated dx to the left, the other which is its max speed. But we want to return the higher of two numbers, one of which is our no, we want to return the lower of two numbers, and one of those numbers is our negative 0.12, and the other number is our clamped dx. Is that just a shit show? Because this number right here will be clamped to no, that won't work. Hold on. We want to be higher of two numbers. The negative is really screwing me here. So it's like we want it to be clamped between negative 12 and then its updated position up to max speed. But the math.min will clamp it at the minimum number, which when this is 0 or 0.04, this is the minimum number. And then as that number gets bigger past negative 12, it'll switch to return its updated position. If that works as expected, I don't think it. It's like, if you ask me right now if that's sound logic, I'd be like, it should work in theory. But you know, a lot of the times when I think that, I try it and it just doesn't work at all. So we'll see. This is looking good. We've got our boolean not only decrementing at the fifth of a speed or at fifth of a second, but we are implementing specific boolean logic to do one of two things, one of which is do nothing if you're just turned for a fifth of a frame. I do think it needs to be a little bit faster than that, but we'll test it. And then if you're not just turned, then if left is pressed and you're not skidding and you're facing left, then give you negative 12 until your dx. Yeah, I feel like that should work, because this negative 12 would only be returned on the very first frame, because at that point our dx is given negative 0.12, at which point we're saying, hey, minus 0.12 minus your speed ramp is now the higher value compared to your max speed, but it is a smaller value compared to your negative 12. Therefore, return this value. This will be on the second frame. Return this value, which is your updated dx position based on that speed ramp. I want to say that'll work. And then So now we need to make sure we got all our end statements. So like, let's check this block right here. This one needs an end, which it doesn't have. Oh, no, it does right here. Because this else if is the if not grounded. So that one's good. This one, self-dot facing right. Then this one, if not facing right, then we need an end right here. This one, which is part of this block, which is part of this block, which has an end. This one, which has an else block, which has an end, so that one's okay. This else if block. Oh yeah, we don't need an end after else if, but we do need one here for this end, or for this if. And then we need one for this if. And then this end is the end of our else if block. Okay. Then we've got an end for that block, and we've got an end for this block. Oh God, see, look, I messed something up. Because the, I'm a little confused. I think do end or do else. Else needs an. I feel like else needs the end as well. But when I type end there, this thing gets grayed out. So what am I missing here? This is the block is saying if facing right, else if not facing right, then do this stuff. And that's the end. And then this one, the else if on this one is part of this block. I don't know why. See, I thought that every if statement needs the end block, and then you also need an end block after your else, because this if needs the end block. Yet when I add an end, the syntax gets colored out, signifying that something's, oh, well, this is probably not helping. Let me see if that fixed it. No. What am I missing? It's like they have these lines drawn here so you can kind of follow. Oh. I don't know. Really? What? Hmm? What am I missing? If self.grounded, else if, oh, okay, yeah, we don't. This, okay, so this is what's screwing us, I think. Because if we're grounded, no. Else if not grounded. Oh, I'm so confused. I think, I guess I'm just confused, like, do I, oh God, do I need this end? Do I need an end after this if block? If, I don't know. I don't know why it's throwing me that error. I thought every if statement needed an end. And if that's that end, this statement still needs an end. But it grays, or yeah, it changes the syntax there. So I don't know what I'm missing here. Because this should, yeah, this is. And the thing is, this else if can be just else, because this first condition is a boolean, so it's saying if we're grounded, then this, else meaning we're aerial, do all this stuff. So we can turn that away, but it kind of helps me see what's going on. So I guess I'm just kind of confused on if we need a another end statement or something. So look, if needs a end function, but what about our else ifs? Oh yeah, look. Well, this if doesn't get its end until, so there's one end for every branching if. So, okay. So yeah, that would be right. Because we don't, wait, no. Because this one needs one. God damn it. This one needs one. I feel pretty confident in saying that, but that if needs an end. But this if's end is only after this. And so what am I missing? So yeah, this end is only after this one. Oh, look at, we're missing, wait, no, we're not. We got it down here. Okay. So that should be right. Then this is the end for this one. And then this is the end for that other one. I don't know what I'm missing here. Because if I try to do another end, it lets me. Oh, but yeah, it screws up that bottom syntax here, the syntax coloring at least. And this is the stuff like, if I didn't have a, you know, code editor with syntax highlighting, like, I wouldn't be able to tell. Oh, look at this. Now this is messed up. Oh, that was the same problem. I'm very confused. If else, then if there's an if in the else, does it still need an end statement? So yeah, you only need one end for this if. But my problem is in my else, I have another if condition, so I should have that. I should need that end again. Because the tutorials are normally simple conditions, so they're not really showing the problem I'm having. Let me just see if the game even does anything at this point. So like, I'm missing the end for this if, but when I add it, it screws this up. So maybe that has something to do. There's the end for that one. There's the end for that one. There's the ends. There's the ends. There's the ends. End. See, look at this. I don't have. So maybe. I have the end there. Okay. I feel like I'm losing my brain. What is this? This is the end of our DT function. Yeah. Our update. Okay. I'm gonna just see if anything works. Even though I'm missing an end. $204. That's probably what's screwing us. Do I need a... Do else ifs need then? Let me try adding this. So this is end. Now this is red, or this is not red. But if we go here and say then, it is now red. So maybe that was it. Okay, right doesn't work at all. Cool. First of all, right is using turn timer. Shoot, man. Okay, so I think we're at a spot where let me see if our left is, yeah. So I can speed up, and I can't give my dx smaller than that 0.12, which is good. One weird thing though is if I'm, and right is the right logic is all busted, so that's been inconsistent too, but if I'm walking right and then I hold left, I'm going to be holding left. It's not doing anything. So next episode, we're going to refactor. So look at, this is all of our left input handling now. So look at how much that code is, okay, versus what it used to be. Well, and this is, well, see how much longer these statements are? They go way out. But we still got to do, yeah, we still got to do this one, or not. We still have to do our flapping dx change logic. This is garbage. Look at this. I left myself a note saying, turn this back on. And this is, okay, that's, I don't think we need that anymore, because it's looking like it's our, if left is down and we're stopped, if right is down, oh, okay. We do need something like that, because that's saying, one of the problems I was having in my version was if you hold more than one input, it just didn't know how to update its dx appropriately. Like things were either canceling each other out, or it was doing the wrong input. Because in the game, if you hold right, you go right. Then if you keep right held and you hold left, it'll skid to a stop, and then it'll turn, then it'll go the other way. So both inputs will be held, yet it needs to be going the direction of the last held input. So we need to figure that out as well, which I think you can kind of do that with a, if right is down, if we're grounded and facing right, and right is down, oh, hold on, maybe just if we're grounded and right is down, then if left is down, activate skid, shoot, because it depends on the speed tier at that point too. I'll have to figure out how to do that, how to change its direction based on its last input if the other input's also held. This game is crazy complex, but this code just looks so much prettier. Look at how much smaller that is compared to all that. Because look, I have to scroll to even read it. But now it's all just right, you know, tiny code. So the next step is to do the corresponding write input for all of this refactoring, because we refactored out the stop and the facing right and grounded. Then we'll be able to test whether or not the basic functions are working again, like stopping, turning, going, and then turning and stopping and going, and then we can debug all of those justTurned booleans or justStopped booleans, making sure those are getting set correctly and the speed's okay. Okay, that's a good amount of progress. I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about that. So yeah, next episode we'll refactor the write input handling, and then we'll test and see if we can't get it back to some kind of working order. This is crazy, because 4 or 5 episodes ago, you know, like 6 or 8 hours of coding ago, we had a very functioning version of the input controls, but because we wanted to do the DX correctly, all this refactoring, and then we noticed a couple of those issues. It's just a complicated problem, but this is teaching me a lot, at least in terms of how to troubleshoot things and how to refactor stuff, you know, like as long as it works, right? I think we could do it. We'll do it, and then we can, you know, implement that, and then we need to fix the animation rate, and then we need to also do the sounds upon the frame, because I had it just set at 4 different footstep speed sounds, but the original has it literally where the sound is triggered on the frame that his foot is strutting. So if he's slow, it's like, so it's literally part of the foot. It executes on the frame level, not on the speed level, but the frame level gets modified by the DX. So cool stuff. Let's commit this. So running git diff will show all the differences from my last commit, so we can see, like, we added a just stop timer, turn timer. We added the logic to initialize it to false. We took out left press time. We changed some booleans. Isn't that cool? I love Git so much. It just shows you all the differences from the last commit. All the code we took out and all is red, and all the code we added is green. So that was today in a nutshell. All that green stuff and all that red stuff were changes. So kind of a cool way to kind of visualize how much work we got done today. But also, you know, a lot of it was thinking and executing, thinking how to execute it. So we'll add everything to our staging area. We will git commit with a message saying added just stopped and justTurned boolean logic, and have left input handling refactored. For DX speed ramp. I don't know. And then we'll get push to our origin repo, our main branch. Booyah. Okay. Sweet. Thanks for watching. We'll keep making progress on this. It's really is this episode 14? Yeah, today's the 30th. This is episode 14. This is 2 weeks. 2 weeks straight of programming progress on this. That's awesome. That's awesome. Without streaming this, my last commit was like 5 months ago or something, and then before that was like another couple weeks or months. So 2 weeks straight of daily commits is like all I could ever hope for, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I'm planning on doing this longer. Like, I'm planning on continuing to do this because I'm making so much good progress. It's really awesome. The only thing is I've got a LA trip, and I'm watching a friend's house again at Wednesday till it's going to be like the whole week. So I'm going to LA Thursday or Friday for 4 days or whatever. So and then I got work, and then I got house sitting for my friends. So I might miss, I'm definitely going to miss at least those 4 days when I'm in LA, because I don't want to be worrying about streaming and posting and whatnot. I'll have my programming books for that. But I might miss a couple days even after those, because I've got work and I'm watching that house, and it's a lot of work, and it's just a lot. So I'm planning on doing as much as I can and staying as consistent as possible. And then once that trip and everything is blown over again, I'll definitely have the time to do it daily again, because I want to do it as daily as possible until we're finished with this thing, and then start on another project, because this has been the magic recipe for staying consistent for me. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will continue to make Just next episode. See you guys.